this one's just you and me, so we can go we can take our time with the article. But man, that was so fun. That was really fun. I love our group, dude.
Yeah,
Good little group of people, and we may even be able to bring some more folks in. I think for that good 40 minute of time, I think we used it pretty well. So that was fun.
oh, most definitely.
Today's article is the difference between Star Wars canon and legends. And I think who better to talk about that than with you, dude? So let's do it. I'm just gonna scroll through. I'll have you read, man.
Sure. Um, the difference between legends and canon in the Star Wars universe is a common topic of debate among fans of the franchise. Star Wars canon refers to everything in the Star Wars universe that takes place on screen in the main films or is mentioned in materials such as comics and novels published after 2013. So this also includes, TV shows, like it, says in comics and things like that. So anything that you see from the first episode 1 to episode 9 in the movies and in Star Wars, it has to be confirmed either through an official story or by the Star Wars creator. But instead of erasing these stories completely, they were given their own separate timeline, and thus the timelines were split into two: canon and legends in the broadest sense. Legends is made up by the stories written before the Lucasfilm acquisition, and canon stories were written after. Let's see. Now, if you want to dive a little deeper, here's a more detailed description of what can officially be dubbed Star Wars canon. So when reading, playing, or watching something in the Star Wars universe, what is officially considered canon? So it includes the films, so episodes 1 through 9, Rogue One, Solo, TV shows, The Clone Wars, Rebels, Resistance, The Mandalorian, all books and comics released after 2014. So that means, after Disney, once Disney made that purchase, they chose. And then there was one thing that you scrolled past. I didn't
My
get to
bad.
that one. It's all good. Video games like Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2, then Jedi Fallen Order. And then while that covers an immense amount of content and story, there are still hundreds of books and comics that don't fall under the banner. They get a literal banner of their own. So Star Wars Legends, like The Force Unleashed 2, material released in the Star Wars Expanded Universe, or also known as Star Wars EU, before April 25th, 2014 is now considered Legends content. However, I just wanted to state, Disney has the option to pick and choose what comes from the Legends material into canon.
Yep.
So they can pick and choose, hey, we want to make this, canon now. And boom, they just bring it in, make a show about it, have a character mention it. It could be as simple as that. Or it could be simple of, like, imagine you're in the cantina and you see a poster and it's like Earth. Boom, now Earth is canon in there, kind of thing, But however, if a book, comic, or video game is considered part of the Legends collection, this does not mean it isn't worth picking it up or it doesn't count. This has been a giant point of contention with experienced Star Wars fans, and that is something that we really try to emphasize here at whatever that word is. Legends still exist. They are still able to be consumed, and their status only means that they are not part of the official canon timeline per se yet.
Oh yeah. Yep.
You want me to continue?
Yeah, continue on.
Okay. For some of us, it helps to consider legends as just that, legends. These stories might have happened, but if they haven't been contradicted yet by existing events, perhaps they simply haven't been confirmed. Starkiller from the Force Unleashed series of books and video games isn't technically a part of the Star Wars canon, but Vader might have had a secret apprentice raised as a Sith from birth. We can neither confirm nor deny. It's hypothetical. So there are quite a few things I wanted to mention, like Starkiller.
Yeah.
If since he's Legends, if they brought his story into canon, it wouldn't, as far as I know from every detail I've picked up from him, it wouldn't affect the original timeline. So they can pick and choose, basically, if you have a row of 6 movies or video games or whatever, they can pick a slot, kind of make some space, put that in there. And so as you follow the storyline, it's more added content, but it's not going to really confuse the new fans, and also the current fans, just current fans that knew about him would be excited.
Yeah. Yep.
But what about characters that exist in both timelines? Such as Luke Skywalker. He exists in both timelines. If
Yep.
you're researching into both timelines, you'll discover that some extended universe characters do appear in both canon and legends. Over the years, canon writers have paid homage to classic characters by including them back into their new stories. And sometimes legends authors have been given the opportunity to bring back their favorite characters themselves, but their stories are different and their impact on the galaxy changes. So, such as Grand Admiral Thrawn, which I don't know everything, of course, but I didn't know this. The biggest example is a phenomenon is undoubtedly Grand Admiral Thrawn. Thrawn originated in his own Legends trilogy back in the early 90s, but he now appears in both a separate canon trilogy and in Star Wars Rebels TV show. Another fan favorite, Asajj Ventress, was originally part of the 2003 Clone Wars cartoon, which I stated before, as
Yep.
Legends, but her character and story were updated in 2008's Canon Clone Wars series, and she even stars in Dark Disciple, a heralded novel of canon.
Oh yeah, I heard about this. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty crazy, huh?
Yep.
So where does the expanded universe fit in? So the term expanded universe was originally used to describe everything in the Legends timeline. Because there was no official canon universe for the novels and comics, the term expanded universe was adopted because that's exactly what the additional material did. It expanded the known universe. Utini, I guess
Yeah.
I
Yeah, that's the
pronounce it.
word.
Here at Utini, we use the term expanded universe as an umbrella that covers both Legends and canon material. Because all these books and comics are expanding the stories of their universe, the Paradise Snare expands the Legends world just like the Most Wanted expands the canon. They are both valid stories, they are both serving a similar function, and therefore they are both parts of the expanded universe. While browsing around Utini, you'll notice that we use the phrase EU or Canon EU and Legends EU to differentiate between these concepts, and we hope that helps clarify a system that can occasionally delve into the overlay complex. And speaking on that, the canon expanded universe, like Darth Vader, if you wanted to know a bit more of a story, you can look at the Vader comics. They're
Yep.
all canon and they're freaking amazing. And
Oh,
actually,
soul,
just
man.
yes, yes. And it's crazy. I just learned why Vader, says to Luke, I have to obey my master. I must obey my master. This is the reason why he's so terrified of him. It's not only because his suit is vulnerable to electricity, it's because in one of the recently released comics, which Element 7 covered, um, Palpatine, I don't want to spoil too much, but he shows
Yeah.
off his true power like it's nothing. And Vader's like, okay, all right, I'm good. I thought I was gonna, go off and do my own thing, but no, I'm terrified of you.
Damn.
So
So it's a fear thing.
yeah, it was like,
Wow.
like if you have a son and one day he starts working out in the gym and he's like, I could beat you up, dad, and then
Yeah.
easily you just, I could eat you out the window, no problem.
Yeah.
And not saying child abuse is okay, this is just imagination, this is just funny.
Right.
Have a laugh, people.
Right.
But I'm just saying that's like the equivalent of it, like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'll go on before I get too sidetracked.
I was just about to say, man, when I was a kid, the way kids were disciplined is different today. So
Definitely.
it's a lot different.
I feel like either my generation or maybe someone who's a couple years a little bit younger than me were like the last ones to know what a belt really felt
Oh
like.
yeah. Yeah, man.
Uh,
Kids today, a belt? What is that? What?
yeah, we turned out just fine.
Yeah, we did.
Uh,
We did.
So, do you want me to? Are there
Yeah,
certain parts you want me
continue
to
on,
cover,
man.
or just keep going? Okay.
Yeah, keep going on.
So all the newly published Legends titles will be paperbacks with a gold Legends banner across the top of the cover. Hardcover versions of Legends books are technically still available, but you'll find them used. If you find a book that is questionable, open up the first few pages to see if it features a Del Rey canon timeline. If it does, then you're holding a canon book. If it doesn't, or if it has a full Legends timeline instead, then you found some Legends.
Yeah.
So this legend stuff is getting more and more rare over the years because it's it's not as common with the Star Wars fans, and the ones that do really love it, they're buying as much as they can of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you're still a bit confused about the difference or aren't sure where a certain book fits on either timeline, look it up on Utani's complete book timeline. You can look both canon and legends timelines individually to find out where your book fits in each universe and even what book comes right before and right after it. They're doing their best to make all the canon and legends material more accessible and exciting for every single reader. If you feel ready to dive deeper into legends, check out Legends Guide to help clear up that massive part of the EU. And if you're more of a reader, take this new information and check out our official Getting Started guide to begin your journey through the EU in the best, most accessible way. So, I mean, for those of you that stuck through that, it's a lot to listen to. But
Yeah.
if you followed along or even paused, you get to read it. Hopefully that helps you guys understand the difference between canon and legends. And there's a lot of information out there that has changed from canon to legends or reverted from canon back to legends. Like, I don't know. There's so much to think about. I mean, this galaxy, this universe that we talk about, it's just ever expanding.
It's
Every
massive.
couple years, like all these shows that we're getting, it's just going to add on to that. And not only that, between these movies, there's also times for other shows to fit in to fill in these gaps.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Yep.
how Rogue One, of course, it's a movie, but it leads from what was it in between? It's right before A New Hope. It leads
Yeah.
right into it.
Yep.
So I don't know what movie was right before that, unless they just went to Revenge of the Sith, but still, fills in the
Yeah.
gap anyways.
You made me think of something. I just got the Mandalorian massive art book. And in that
Ooh.
book, it tells us specifically that the Mandalorian takes place 5 years after Return of the Jedi, which
Mhm.
I mean, most folks already know. But again, like you were saying, like all these new shows and new content that we're getting, we get these parts where they fill in different gaps. I mean, even different worlds, stuff that's outside of the outer rim. There's so much that's being added. So, Guy, I have a question. Because I'm one of those people that I'm familiar with legends. I know there's some audio comics that I've seen on YouTube that have done a great job at presenting the information and allowing new readers to kind of tune into some of the stuff that's legends. But you definitely are way more knowledgeable in that sense of Star Wars legends. For someone who would say like, "Hey, I'm curious, where's a good place to start?" What's your recommendation of like, "Hey, if you're gonna dive into Star Wars legends, these are a few books or places that I would say you need to start here," or you would advise?
Um, I don't want to take too much credit for the legend stuff because I don't really dabble with it too
Yeah.
much.
Yep.
Some of it I do know for sure, and it does pique my interest.
Yep.
When it comes to books, honestly, this page that you found, Utany, I would
Yeah.
start there if you're a book reader. Me, I really wish I can get into it. I really want to start trying at some point to see if I can get into it. But when it comes to these books, I think you would have the most information packed into I don't know if it's like 300-400 pages or more, but in the smallest condensed area, the most, I guess, explainable way
Yeah.
that you could find out all this information, as well as just Google search.
Yep. And it looks like they
Now,
have a guide on here too that they were mentioning. So
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
pretty
you
cool.
have comics. You can find out which comics are canon legends. You can start there if you're a comic book reader, or
Yeah,
if you like a couple hundred pages or more, I'd pick up a book.
for sure.
But as far as like what's on screen that's legends, as far as I know, I mean, I
Yeah.
could be forgetting about something. The 2003 Clone Wars is the one that is legends.
Yeah. Yep.
Now it is available on Disney Plus if you want to watch it, depending on what country you're in. But I would just recommend watching it because even if it is legends, it still answers a lot of questions that canon, really lacks to answer. Like, how did Anakin Skywalker get the scar above his eye or right on
Yeah.
his eye?
I thought it
Here's
was
the
from the
difference.
bathtub.
You know, he got a really, really tough brush just right on the face.
Right.
Now, here's the difference with that. Now, verbatim, word for word, I'm not very good about that, but I still get the point across because I'm terrible with like gathering information and putting it out there in the same manner. But
Yeah.
in the canon timeline, how he gets a scar is there's some kind of battle that occurs, and it just happens. Just happens during the battle. Just
Yeah.
happens. It's very, very boring, very dull.
Yeah.
Um, but when you see it in the two, you actually get to see the fight occur in the 2003 Clone Wars. Is that he's fighting Asajj Ventress.
Oh
So what
yeah.
happens? I could be wrong about this, but I think she flips over him, and as she flips over him, she's toying with him. So she takes her lightsaber and cuts across it, you know, vertically up his eye, just to kind of give him a taste. Like, I can mess you up if I want.
I could have cut a limb
And
off. So,
could have,
right.
yeah.
Right.
And so that's like the more interesting way, and it goes back to what I was saying. Like, if they made the 2003 Clone Wars canon, they could just make a little bit of room, throw it in there, and boom, it makes sense. It makes sense, you know, why Grievous has his cough, because
Yeah.
in that show, you know, Mace Windu, before Grievous gets on his ship to escape, Mace Windu uses Force Crush around his chest area, and of
Oh
course that's
yeah.
where his lungs are, and then it causes him to get the cough.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple other things that it answered, but those were like the two big ones that a lot of
Yeah.
people were wondering. But that's just kind of an example.
And then the things that go against it that, George, I guess, didn't agree with was kind of the usage of the force. So like seeing, how Mace Windu took out all of those, battle droids, by himself, like Super Saiyan
Mm-hmm.
mode, which I thought was badass. But, I guess when you think of other things in terms of the continuity, like I guess that part would be the struggle, because it was like, in other films where they did struggle, well, why did they just do that? you know
Yes.
so yeah, but I totally agree, man. Like after watching that, I was like, man, this is amazing. I feel like there were certain things that they did in that show, like you said, that would answer certain questions, and if they just made a little room, it definitely could work. But then there's the other side where there's
Yeah.
the struggle of how they use the force and whatnot. But
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I never even thought about it before. When you look at it,
Yeah.
you know, Mace Windu is just dodging every single blaster
Yeah.
bolt that's shot at him. And it's like he's like like you said, Super Saiyan, just
Yeah.
extremely, extremely powerful, just dominating everything.
Yep.
And that gives the perception of every single force sensitive is extremely powerful.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then when you look at like Revenge of the Sith, you look at them fighting, or even the clone, or not Clone Wars, sorry, episode 2, you see them in the arena fighting. They're very watered down compared to how it was prior. So
Yeah.
I can kind of understand it.
Yeah.
But I think they're just going to pick apart some things and just implement it. You know, they
Yeah.
have all kinds of time to do that.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, this article is helpful, and even just conversing with you. I mean, I'm a guy that, yeah, I'm not big into legends. Like, there's some things that I'm familiar with, and certain stories that I've read. Like, I think some of the audio comics I've seen, during like Luke during his time of, kind of teaching, which I thought was really cool. Even other video games, there was something that you read on here too, where it talked about like even, Jedi Knight Academy, for instance. I play that all the time and go live on TikTok. That, for instance, would still be, considered legends. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the fun thing is, this is going to be a weird example, but I think it works. Okay, roll with me here. So, we have all of these Batmen, right? You have the Batfleck, Ben Affleck, Batman, who's in Justice League, the Snyderverse, and then you have Robert Pattinson Batman, the new Batman that's coming out, and then you also have, isn't there another Batman? Wasn't there another one? Yeah, Michael Keaton. He's
Oh,
supposed to be coming
yeah.
back in the Flash, right? So, but there's something in me as a fan of those movies, like comic book stuff, where I've become mature enough, even for Spider-Man. When we think about like this new Spider-Verse crazy thing that they're doing, everyone's going to be in that movie, every Spider-Man ever. There's something in me that's grown mature to say, you know what, I'm okay. There's the what they're doing in the Snyderverse, and I'm okay with them also having this story over here, and I can enjoy that for what it is, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. And I'm using that example for the Batman and Spider-Man stuff as the same thing with Star Wars canon versus Legends. It's like, hey, I can enjoy these stories for what they are, the stories that they told and those characters, while still being mature enough to say, you know what, that's not this, but I can still enjoy both for what they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I've gone into looking at both Legends and canon, because there are some things that are distinctively different, but then there's some things like even what you said, like, yeah, if they just made room, they could definitely squeeze a lot of the Legend stuff into canon. But
Hmm.
as a fan, I've grown to be like, I'm mature enough to where I can handle both. So yeah.
That's the point. I wish that a lot of people would just come to a conclusion to,
Yeah.
because I'm not trying to bash everyone, like try and put them in a bubble and think of myself as a higher self or whatever it may be. But I see it too often where someone wants to bend Star Wars to their will. Like they
Mhm.
see their favorite character, they only want to see that character. Everything else they get to pick and choose by their own taste of what's canon, what's Legends,
Yep.
and what they really want to see out of Star Wars. And it's going to get old very quick, and that
Yeah.
explains why they're so damn salty about it. It's like if you
Yep.
open your mind to every single show that's out there, every single movie that's out there, if you open your mind to, I don't know, the cartoon shows that people think are just stupid sometimes,
Right.
it's like, give it a shot. You're going to
Yeah.
realize Clone Wars isn't exactly made for kids, and
Yeah.
Rebels has so many lessons to give you, if it
Yeah.
makes sense. Like
Oh
when you
yeah.
see Ezra in Rebels, it's like he's this young kid that thinks he could take on the world. And
Yeah.
then Kanan's like, no, trust me, like you don't know how dark it can be out here. And then you see through their journey, like
Yep.
it's not as pretty as you thought, but
Yeah.
there's so much that people can just open their mind to. And for the future of Star Wars, like there's so much good stuff that's coming that we've already been a part of and already experienced too. If they were to just take a seat, in the passenger seat instead of trying to drive all the
Yeah.
time, if they just take a seat, take a step back, and not only maybe try and experience more things for themselves, but let others enjoy it. That's a big problem in the community, is that my favorite's Darth Vader, and yours is the Mandalorian. Well,
Yeah.
Darth Vader can totally crush the Mandalorian hella easy, like in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
I'm better than you, and it's like, oh, hold
Right.
on, hold on, two different sides of things, and you
Right.
got to just respect each other's characters, kind of thing. It's
Yeah.
they're just characters in the
Yeah.
end of the day, and we're just
Yeah.
human beings. So you love what you love, I love what I love, and it's like we could share that together because Star
Yeah.
Wars is amazing.
Absolutely. No, you bring up a valid point, man, and even something that you said about Rebels, because I used to be one of those people that didn't want to get into Rebels just because of how it looked. I thought it looked too cartoony. I was like, oh, this seems like it's more for kids. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
then it wasn't until about 2 years ago I finally was like, you know what, shit, I'm not doing anything. I'll give this a try. I turned it on and I was like, whoa, what is this? And I was hooked.
Yes.
And the like you said, even the lessons that you learn, um, even in Rebels, like with the relationship between Kanan and Ezra, even grief, losing someone. Like I was like, man, this show like hit harder than Clone Wars in certain moments, I would say.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I love that, man. That encouragement for the fandom. Just give things a try. Give it a watch and then voice your opinion afterwards. But keep it positive. So I love
Yeah.
that, man. Absolutely.
Definitely. And I can't push people more to find out your own taste.
Yeah.
Just
Yep.
because the whole mob mentality or sheep mentality of like, hey, around the sequels, they're all trash. It's like, hold
Yeah.
on, try it for yourself, see if you like it.
Yep.
Rebels is for kids. Hold on, try it before you
Right.
like it now. The only thing I'll say, Resistance was definitely more targeted for kids. That's
Oh
not saying
yeah.
it's a bad thing, but
Yeah.
it was a struggle to get through the first season. But once I
Yeah.
got to the second, it got better. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's terrible, but it got better, and then it stopped. And I was like, all
Yeah.
right, well, I learned some more new things when it came from, the Empire transitioning to the First Order and how it was, what it was like.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, there's just so much knowledge, so much to be learned, and I kind of feel
Yeah.
bad for like the fans who first realize, wow, Star Wars is something I really like, and then it's like it opens this door and
Yeah.
there's just so much content and you're like,
What?
have
It's
to
overwhelming.
I have to watch all this.
Yeah.
But
It's like I
then,
went to the donut shop, like, what was it, 2 weeks ago? And it was like, there were so many options that I couldn't choose. I was like,
yes.
this is overwhelming. What about, you know?
and then it's like once you start on one thing, you're like, oh, thank God there's so much more content because I'm just hooked, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's great.
Yeah, man. Well, I think this wraps up our show for today, but I think this was great. And I think, I like myself and many others, have had those questions about, legends and canon and where do you start and what do you do? And it's really just even like what Star Wars Guide is saying, it's a thing of preference and kind of what you like and enjoy it all. You know what I mean? I don't think anyone's saying there's one particular spot that you have to start, but there's so many different stories that have been told. You can enjoy it all and enjoy it for what it is. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. If you guys are on the TikTok, be sure to follow Star Wars Guide on TikTok as well. He's almost we're getting close to 50K. We're getting close to 50K on his page. So
45. That's
yeah.
what I'm trying to get.
Yeah, man.
I'm at the curse of 44K. I got to break it.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, if you guys are into Star Wars, lore, you love Star Wars in general, go and follow this man. Check him out there. And as well as myself, DadaLorian on YouTube and on TikTok as well. So thanks so much. Any last words, Guide?
Enjoy the fandom and have a blast. You're going to learn so much. You're going to love it.
This is the way, or do we say, may the force be with you? I don't know. They're kind of like the same these days.
So. Yeah, this is the way. May the force be with you.
We'll see you guys Friday for Bad Batch episode 2. Boom.
Alrighty, everybody. Take care.